Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to Pain to Joy. My name is Danielle. Thank you for being here with me today. How's your heart today? How are you doing? Shall we take a moment to close down our eyes, center ourselves, and bring ourselves into this present moment, doing our best to not tune into the distractions, but tune into our own hearts. Maybe placing a hand on your heart, taking a deep breath or two, if that feels good to you. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Sometimes I feel like it's just really nice to come into this present moment, and that's something I wanted to speak a little bit to today. Last week I started planning a bit of an adventure that I will be going on, and I almost didn't go on this adventure that I've been thinking about for months because I hadn't been feeling optimal. And a couple of weeks ago on a Wednesday, I was sitting near the marina in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and I was journaling. And I journaled some questions like, what are you doing? Where are you going? What's happening with your life? And I also started to reconsider some plans that I had. I actually thought maybe I would not be able to continue the podcast based on how my health was going, because it is a bigger undertaking than I maybe could have anticipated. And I thought, you're not going to be able to do these travels that you want to do, some studies that you want to do. And then the next day, the most beautiful thing, because I gave myself some time to spend time with myself, to look out at the sleeping giant, Nana Bijou, to breathe in the Lake Superior breeze, to watch some boats go out. It was just so wonderful. And I let myself put pen to paper about frustrations and maybe sadness, because I thought, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to do this podcast. I'm not going to be able to continue studying Italian like I wanted to do. And then the next day, I journaled and I felt different and I felt lighter. And I regrouped and I refocused and I restarted like I have so many times before. And what came to me was, you don't have to stop doing the podcast. You can just make shorter episodes. You don't have to not study Italian. You just have to do it a little bit differently. And then what started to come to me was this idea of be here now, be in this moment, appreciate and enjoy this moment, even if it's painful, even if it's challenging, and also be prepared for what's next. Prepare yourself. Now, what's funny is I was a brownie growing up. So if you're not familiar, it's like a female version of Cub Scouts. I learned how to cook different things, how to clean, how to be a better friend. We went on adventures. We went camping. Brownies are now called Embers. And it was such a joy. But a big thing that I remember that I still carry with me when I travel, when I'm doing anything, is to be prepared. So I'll be the girl with the little first aid kit. Wherever I am, somebody needs a Band-Aid, I have it. Somebody needs some polysporin, some ointment if they have a cut, I've got it. And so be here now. Be where you're at. Learn how to be with it. Maybe it's amazing. Maybe this moment is tougher than you would like, but be prepared for what comes next. And so in this journey of these last few weeks, which is my wellness journey, I said, okay, give yourself 5 to 6 weeks. And if you feel well enough, you can go on an adventure and learn some more Italian. And you buy a flight that you can get credit for if you're not feeling up to it. And like I already said, I can keep doing my podcast, this beautiful energy exchange where I get to connect with so many of you, where I feel like I'm sharing things from my heart that hopefully are helpful and resonate. I can do that. Just have to keep it shorter. Which is why I'm recording today, only a couple of days after I recorded my last episode, because I am preparing for the fact that these next few days, I have a more full schedule. These next few days, I will end up being out with my family, and I am being prepared for the fact that I'm going to get my hair done, and that can be tricky. There were a couple of years where I never got my hair cut at all. I never got my hair colored because it was too painful to have someone touch my head. So I am mentally psyching myself up for the once a year, maybe do a little color, get my hair cut. I do get my hair cut more often now. But because I know that that could cause a potential flare or a potential not having as much energy, because I know I'm going to be with my family, because I know I'm preparing my place to rent again, that's going to take my energy. And in this moment, I have energy to record this podcast. So I am preparing now so that I can get it out there when I want to. And that other preparedness I was talking about was, I am here in this moment in Calgary, but when I think about my adventures in a month or so, what I've done is I've gone to the city that I'm going to be in, and I have looked at the pool schedule. So I found 2 or 3 swimming pools. I found some Pilates studios. I found some yoga studios. I have written out by hand in my notebook the pool schedule for both of those pools. I've reached out to a woman who owns and runs a Pilates studio. So I'm here now in this moment. I know that I'm here. I'm so thankful to be enjoying this glorious weather we had today, to be connecting with some friends and family in the next few days, and to set myself up for success. I am writing down schedules of the pool in another place in another country for a month and a half from now. And that makes me feel really hopeful. It makes me feel very grounded. It makes me feel as though I can continue to get stronger, that my wellness routine can be sustainable no matter where I am, and that even if I don't get to the pool every other day like I had been, because I haven't in the last, I guess I missed, would have been yesterday, would have been the every other day, and I didn't, because yesterday I woke up at my friend's house, so wonderful to spend time with them and their beautiful dogs, and with my dad, he was there as well. I got to go to correction on last week, and I forgot to put it in the podcast notes. It's no longer the Shaw Charity Classic. It's the Rogers Charity Classic golf tournament at the Canyon Meadows Golf Course in Calgary. And let me tell you, what a joy. I ended up seeing yesterday in a span of less than a half an hour. I got myself towards the 18th green. My dad walked by moments later. I wasn't sure where he was on the course, and he was a standard bearer. So he follows around a trio of golfers, and he switches their scores as you go along for the day. And he had been outside, I think, holding the standard bearer, the sign, since 11:45 in the morning. I believe it was maybe 3:45 by the time I saw him. And I saw him, and then I turned my head and I saw a family friend who's like an aunt of mine. Then I turned my head and I saw a friend I haven't seen in years. He looked amazing. That was great. Then I turned, not even less than a foot away was a former colleague. And then moments after that, my brother's colleague, I could have sworn I could hear this voice. And I said, Dad, I'm pretty sure we know this guy behind us. And lo and behold, we got to greet each other, got to meet his brother. So I had some really magical moments, and it was a really full day. And it didn't include going to the swimming pool, but it included walking on the beautiful grass at that golf course. I actually took my flip-flops off and walked on it, because some of that grass is some of the most cushy, luxurious grass you'll ever step on and ground yourself on in your entire life. And then my dad came back and helped me figure out some stuff with my storage unit very graciously, because he was pretty tuckered out, and I'm trying to figure out things for renting my place again. I don't have a ton of updates for those of you following since the beginning. I had evicted some tenants earlier this year, and unfortunately there were a few things that were wrecked in my place. So we are still working on a few things, but we've made some headway. The ceiling fan in my bedroom had some issues. Now we're just at the point where, is it worth it to fix it, or do I just get a whole new ceiling fan? And family and friends have been so helpful with ideas and tips. So shout out to those of you who have been helping me with that. Thank you. And thank you to my mom and dad and everyone else who has been helpful and reaching out and asking if they can help. I don't know if I mentioned earlier in one of the previous podcasts, but I had mentioned that my office chair got wrecked And then a family friend who's also like an aunt to me gave me a brand new office chair that I'm sitting on right now. And so that to me is a reminder to keep your heart open to magic. The same with yesterday at the golf course. I understand that people were gravitating toward the 18th green at that point, or the 18th hole. However, there were lots of people in lots of different places. I did find out there were 2 other people I loved that were there, and I didn't end up seeing them, but I saw a lot of people in a short period of time, and that really made me feel like I was in the right place at the right time. And I was so, so thankful to see some of these wonderful humans that I haven't seen, some of them in such a long time. And if we go back to this idea of being here now and being prepared, what could that look like in your life? I know, and I'm surprised by this, my niece and nephew in Canmore headed back to school in next week, next Monday. I believe it's August 26th. It seems a bit early in my heart and mind. As a former educator, I feel for the educators there, and as well as my friends who I'm going to sneak in some visits with this week, because I found out they go back to the school next week, but not back into the classroom as early as the Canmore kids. In any case, it's a time of year, when I'm recording this anyway, that we can think about going back to school. Gosh, I used to love going back to school. I could cry. I was always so excited, whether it was as a student or as a teacher. Such an exciting time. I loved going in and getting my classroom organized. I loved those first few days of classes with my students. I taught high school predominantly, and I really enjoyed those first few days of getting to know my students. I taught languages, so we got to have a lot of fun. I did teach a few other things, but mostly languages. And those first few days, especially getting to know the youngest students in the school, so the grade 10s, was always such a joy. And so when I'm thinking about this season, getting back to school, for example, and that might not be what's happening when you end up listening to this, but how could you be prepared? How could you set yourself up for success? I know something that helped me last week that I also did the other day was cook something. So I make tabbouleh or tabbouleh salad with quinoa, parsley, tomatoes, green onion, fresh lemon, freshly squeezed lemon, and olive oil and some salt, and it's delicious. And then I have that in the fridge, and I can eat that over the next couple of days. The other night I made some fresh pasta sauce, and I made some spaghettini, and I made way too much, but thank goodness I made way too much, because then I was able to eat it for the following 2 or 3 days. Especially when my energy is low, it's great to have something there that I can eat and heat up and know that it's nutritious and delicious and homemade. So what I used to do on Sundays, or whenever really, but at the beginning of the week, prepare some meals, prepare some food, so that when I was hungry, when I knew my energy might be low, I could open the fridge and there was something to reheat, or there was something that I could put directly on my plate. When I buy lettuce, for example, I've been washing it and then layering it in a Tupperware between paper towel, having dried it first, and then I have lettuce, because sometimes I love lettuce. I love the crunch. I love lettuce so much. However, if it's not ready, there are days where I will look in the fridge and say, gosh, I love lettuce, but I am way too tuckered out to clean it and wash it and get it ready for a salad. So what are the things that you could do in your life that could help you set yourself up for success, so that you're here in this moment, but you're prepared for what's to come? And that could be you're going back to school. That could be going back to work. That could be you have children and then they're going back to school. And there are some systems that could be put into place to make your life and their lives much more streamlined, much easier. When I used to teach every day, I would put my clothes out the night before. I know someone else has a wardrobe that has less color in it, easier to organize, less to think about. I don't think I could ever do that because I love color too much. But there are different ways that work for each one of us that can make our lives easier and simplify the everyday. And so that's just something that was on my heart that I wanted to share. A joy from the last few days, as I mentioned, was bumping into so many wonderful friends and family yesterday. It was so wonderful. It was incredible to spend nourishing time with my friends, one of their moms, my dad the other night, just sitting outside in a backyard with the beautiful weather, with the dogs. It was a joy. And a challenge remains pacing myself. I talk about it. I talk about self-care. And today I had a meeting about potentially renting my place. And then my mind was abuzz and I was thinking about all of the things that need to be organized and cleaned. And then I was going to take a break and then I didn't. And eventually I did get in a very good deep nap that I desperately needed, because I find around a full moon, and we have a full super moon right now, I don't sleep well. The energy gets to me, or I go stand outside under the moon and then I'm wired. And so a challenge will continue to be, or has continued to be, pacing myself, taking breaks, and kudos to a good friend of mine who helped me do that the other day. I'm such an extrovert and we're outside and it's beautiful. And I'm thinking I probably need to lie down, but I'm having such a good time. And she suggested maybe I take a rest. And it was very gracious of her because she was preparing the dinner and I really wanted to help. But that's okay, because then later on I insisted on washing the dishes, even when she insisted that I didn't. So my dad and I washed a few dishes. Everything works out. Everything flowed beautifully. And it was okay that I snuck away for 45 minutes to an hour, more than okay, because that's what I needed. And I will celebrate something that I have been doing that I mentioned when I recorded the other day, this idea of letting people know what I need. And when you do that, people show up for you. I let someone know that I was going to have a visit with them and I need to keep it to about an hour. I let them know that if we're going to visit, it needs to be outside. I can't be in a loud inside environment. People are literally saying to me, sounds great, just want to help you on your wellness journey, want to be as accommodating as possible. I have 2 girlfriends that I'm going to see this week who are incredibly generously and graciously coming to me. That means I don't have to drive. That means I can conserve my energy for the drive that I, crossing my fingers and toes, that I will be able to do with multiple breaks. Maybe do a picnic, maybe go for a walk along the way to get to the mountains. So thank you. Thank you to those of you who are listening. Thank you to those of you who are specifically personally in my life who are helping me, because even though I know I need to do it, I can be in the moment and I can forget to take the breaks even though I know I need to. Thank you to the people who are coming to my neighborhood. Thank you to all of you out there who generously and graciously honor your friends and your family and their boundaries and their needs and their wants, especially when it comes to their health and wellness. I honor you. I appreciate you. And I have known for a long, long time that everyone in my life, my family, my friends, all people would want is for me to be honoring my own energy and to be taking care of myself. But like I said, as an extrovert, as somebody who loves to be around people, as a recovering people pleaser, sometimes I forget to make sure I'm honoring my own energy. So I need to set intentions every day to do that. I need to be vocal and communicative and honest with friends and family. I did that the other day on the way to the Gulf. I recorded episode 15 in the morning, and I didn't realize how many things I needed to get organized before I left to go to my friend's house. And I said, hey, I'm a bit overwhelmed. I'm going to have to come a bit later. Thank you for understanding. And it all worked out perfectly. Because I truly believe that everything is figure-outable. Everything is working out the way that it's meant to. And everything is happening for us. So every time I do have a flare, every time I overdo it, it is an opportunity to practice what I've already practiced before, to return to what I already know to be true, to remember that access to my energy is a privilege, but it's my responsibility to honor my energy, to communicate my needs and my wants, and to surround myself with people who are going to honor that, who are going to help me with that. And I am so eternally thankful that I have so many beautiful souls in my life. Many of you are listening at this exact moment. Thank you. Thank you for honoring my energy when I forget to. Thank you for helping me do this. Thank you for celebrating me when I do. And know that I will be here, curious about what you are doing to set yourself up for success for this fall, what you are doing to be prepared for whatever's coming next for you, and to remember to cherish and to love this present moment as much as we can, because it is a gift. No matter what it holds, it is a gift to be here. It is a gift to be alive. And I'm so thankful that I can be here now, that I can be prepared for what's next, and that I can be thankful for it all. I am so thankful for you. Thank you for being here today. Sending you love, sending you peace, cheering you on as you prepare for whatever's next. Please feel free to connect with me. You can direct message me on Facebook or Instagram. It's Danielle.Suddy on Instagram, Danielle Suddy on Facebook. You can find this podcast on YouTube now. You won't see my face, but you can still hear the podcast. Also on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple. Thank you from my whole heart for supporting me in this. And know that I am sending you love and supporting you wherever you are.